You think you can buy love, Vivian? All you know is how to write checks. Ember's words cut deep as she smirks at me, her hand possessively clutching my husband Ashton's arm. Ashton deserves a woman who appreciates his talent, not some workaholic hag. I stare at my husband in disbelief. Surely he'll defend me, tell Ember she's out of line. But instead he pulls her closer, his eyes cold as they meet mine. I want a divorce, Vivian. And I'm keeping the restaurant. It's the least you owe me for wasting my youth. His words slice through me like a knife. This can't be happening. I think back to when we first met. Me, a rising corporate lawyer, him, a charming bartender at the swanky lounge I frequented after long days at the firm. He had dreams of becoming a chef, and I believed in him. I paid for his culinary school, poured my savings into launching his restaurant. And this is how he repays me? Ember's victorious grin ignites a fury within me. They want to play dirty? Fine. Game on. They have no idea who they're messing with. I'm Vivian Sinclair, and I never lose. 5 years ago, things were so different. Ashton and I were deeply in love, or so I thought. We'd spend hours talking about his dreams of opening a world-class restaurant. You make the money, I'll make the magic, he'd say with a wink. And like a fool, I believed him. I worked tirelessly, climbing the corporate ladder to afford the life we dreamed of together. The long hours paid off when I made junior partner. To celebrate, I surprised Ashton with a check, enough to cover his culinary school tuition and then some. He swept me into his arms, peppering my face with kisses. "You're my angel investor," he murmured. "I'll make you so proud." And he did, graduating top of his class. Buoyed by his success, I took out a business loan and signed a lease on a prime location downtown. Ashton's Bistro was born, and my husband was the toast of the town. Critics raved, reservations were booked months in advance. I beamed with pride at every accolade. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Late nights at the firm meant missed dinners, forgotten anniversaries. "You're never here, Vivian," Ashton would complain. "I feel like I'm married to your job." So I scaled back at work, started taking cooking classes at the restaurant to spend more time with him. That's where I met Ember, a lively young food blogger with a magnetic personality. She was everything I wasn't, carefree, fun, passionate about food. We bonded over Ashton's culinary genius, and I was grateful to have a new friend. How naive I was. The signs were all there, I just didn't want to see them. The hushed phone calls, the late nights at the restaurant. "Oh, Vivian, you're just being paranoid," Ashton would assure me. Ember is a business contact, nothing more. Nothing more, indeed. The image of them tangled in our bed, clothes strewn across the floor, is seared into my brain. And now they have the audacity to ambush me in my own home, demanding I hand over everything I've worked for. They think they've won, but the game is just beginning. I'll show them what happens when you cross Vivian Sinclair. My dear husband and his mistress picked the wrong woman to mess with. They'll rue the day they betrayed me. I straighten my spine, a cold smile spreading across my lips as I stare them down. "Enjoy your little victory," I say, my voice dripping with venom. "It won't last long. I'll destroy you both, even if it's the last thing I do." The betrayal stings like a fresh wound as I throw myself into work, desperate to ignore the growing distance between Ashton and me. Late nights at the office become my refuge, a place to bury the pain and pretend everything's fine. But deep down, I know it's not. Ember's constant presence at the restaurant doesn't help. She's always there, flitting around Ashton, laughing at his jokes, touching his arm. It makes me sick to see how close they've become. One evening, I decide to surprise Ashton with a romantic dinner at home. I slave over a gourmet meal, light candles, put on a slinky dress, but when he walks in, he barely notices. "What's all this?" he asks, his tone more annoyed than appreciative. "I thought we could have a nice night in," I say, forcing a smile. "Just the two of us," he shrugs. "I'm beat, Viv. It's been a long day at the restaurant. Ember and I were experimenting with some new recipes and lost track of time." There it is again. Ember. Always Ember. I bite back a retort and try to salvage the evening. "Well, I made your favorite, truffle risotto with seared scallops. Come, sit down and relax." But the meal is tense, the conversation stilted. Ashton picks at his food, his mind clearly elsewhere. I want to scream, to demand he pay attention to me, but I don't. I just sip my wine and pretend everything's perfect. Later, as I'm clearing the dishes, I overhear Ashton on the phone in the next room. I can't do this anymore, he's saying, his voice low. I feel trapped, unappreciated. She doesn't understand me like you do. My heart clenches. He's talking to her. I know it. Part of me wants to confront him, but I'm afraid of what he'll say, afraid of losing him. Instead, I bury myself in work, taking on more cases, logging longer hours. My best friend Nadia grows concerned. You need to do something, Viv. But she urges over lunch one day. Hire a private investigator. Find out the truth. You can't keep living like this. But I brush off her suggestion. It's just a rough patch, I insist. Every marriage has them. We'll get through it. Even as I say the words, I know I'm lying to myself. The cracks are widening, the foundation crumbling. And then one night, I find a text from Ember on Ashton's phone. I can't wait to taste your new creation, it reads, followed by a winking emoji. My blood boils. I confront Ashton, waving the phone in his face. What the hell is this? I demand. He snatches the phone from my hand, his face twisting in anger. It's business, Vivian. God, you're so paranoid. Ember's helping me develop new menu items. That's it. Don't lie to me, I hiss. I see how you two are together. The secret glances, the inside jokes. You're sleeping with her, aren't you? Ashton scoffs. You're delusional. Maybe if you spent more time being a wife and less time being a lawyer, you wouldn't have these crazy ideas. His words are like a slap. I recoil, tears stinging my eyes. I've given you everything, Ashton, my love, my support, my money, and this is how you repay me? He just shakes his head. I'm done with this conversation. I'm going to the restaurant to clear my head. Don't wait up. As the door slams behind him, I crumple to the floor, sobbing. How did we get here? What happened to the man I married, the love we shared? I know I can't keep living in denial. Nadia's right. I need answers. With shaking hands, I dial the number of a well-known private investigator. It's time to face the truth, no matter how painful it may be. If Ashton thinks he can betray me and walk away unscathed, he's got another thing coming. I'll find out exactly what he's been up to with Ember. And when I do, there will be hell to pay. The private investigator's report confirms my worst fears. Grainy photos of Ashton and Ember, caught in intimate embraces, secret rendezvous at her apartment. The evidence is undeniable. My husband is having an affair. I confront him that evening, slamming the photos down on the kitchen counter. Care to explain these? I ask, my voice trembling with rage. Ashton barely glances at the pictures. Where did you get those? Have you been spying on me? Don't try to turn this around on me, I snap. You're the one screwing your little food blogger behind my back. He has the audacity to roll his eyes. It's not what you think, Vivian. Ember and I, we have a connection. She understands my passion for food, my dreams. She supports me in ways you never have. Supports you? I laugh bitterly. I'm the one who paid for your culinary school, bankrolled your precious restaurant. I've supported you every step of the way. With money, sure, but emotionally? You're never there, Viv. Always working, always too busy for me. Ember makes me feel alive, appreciated. His words cut deep, but I refuse to let him see how much he's hurting me. If you're so unhappy, why stay with me? Why not just ask for a divorce? Ashton smirks. And give up the cushy life you provide? The fancy apartment, the expensive toys? I'm not stupid, Vivian. I know a good thing when I have it. Rage boils inside me. So you thought you could have your cake and eat it too? Keep me around to foot the bills while you screw your mistress on the side? It's not like that, he insists, but I can see the lie in his eyes. Get out, I hiss. Get out of my house, my life. I never want to see you again. Ashton shrugs. Fine, but don't think you're getting rid of me that easily. I have just as much right to the restaurant, to everything we've built together, and I'll fight you for it. He storms out, slamming the door behind him. I sink to the floor, hot tears streaming down my face. How could I have been so blind, so stupid? I trusted him, loved him, and all along he was betraying me. Nadia comes over that night, a bottle of wine in hand. I'm so sorry, Viv, she says, hugging me tight. I knew something was off with Ashton, but I never imagined. He's been cheating on me with Ember, I choke out. He wants a divorce, says he's entitled to half of everything, the restaurant, our assets, all of it. Nadia's eyes flash with anger. Like hell he is. We'll make him pay for what he's done to you, Viv. He doesn't deserve a cent. I nod, wiping away my tears. You're right. It's time to stop crying and start fighting. Ashton wants to play dirty? Well, two can play at that game. The next morning, I march into my lawyer's office, the investigator's report clutched in my hand. I want to file for divorce, I tell him, and I want you to find any dirt you can on my husband, dig into his finances, his business dealings. I have a feeling he's hiding something. My lawyer nods. Consider it done. We'll make sure you come out on top, Vivian. He won't know what hit him. As I leave the office, a sense of cold determination settles over me. Ashton thinks he can destroy me, but he's underestimated the woman he married. I built him up from nothing, and now I'll tear him down just as easily. He and Ember want a war? They've got one. And I never lose a fight. They'll both pay for their betrayal, one way or another. I'll make sure of it. The divorce proceedings are ugly, a bitter battle of he said, she said. Ashton paints me as a cold, unloving workaholic, while I expose his infidelity and financial improprieties. My lawyer uncovers evidence of Ashton's embezzlement from the restaurant, funneling money into a secret account to fund his lavish gifts for Ember. Armed with this information, we negotiate a favorable settlement. Ashton walks away with nothing. No stake in the restaurant, no alimony, just the clothes on his back and his precious mistress by his side. But my victory is short-lived. Ashton and Ember launch a smear campaign against me, trashing my reputation to anyone who will listen. They post vicious lies on social media, accusing me of being a ruthless gold digger who never loved Ashton, only his potential for success. Their words sting, but I hold my head high. I know the truth, and so do those closest to me. Nadia stands firmly by my side, a fierce ally in the face of their cruelty. At the restaurant, I waste no time cleaning house. I fire Ashton and Ember on the spot, relishing the shock and outrage on their faces as I have security escort them from the premises. You can't do this, Ashton sputters. This is my restaurant, my dream. Not anymore, I say coldly. You lost the right to call it yours the moment you betrayed me. Now get out of my sight before I have you both arrested for trespassing. Ember hurls obscenities at me as they're dragged away, but I don't flinch. Let them spew their venom. They're powerless now, nothing more than a footnote in my life. With Ashton and Ember gone, I pour my energy into revamping the restaurant. I hire a talented new head chef, update the menu, and rebrand the entire concept. Ashton's Bistro becomes Vivian's, a chic and modern eatery that quickly gains buzz among the city's foodies. The grand reopening is a smash success, with lines out the door and glowing reviews from critics. As I mingle with the guests, accepting their congratulations and well wishes, I feel a sense of pride and vindication. I built this place, made it thrive, and I did it all without Ashton. But my triumph is tempered by whispers of Ashton and Ember's latest antics. They've been blacklisted from every reputable restaurant in town, reduced to working in seedy dives and fast food joints. Part of me feels a twinge of pity, but I quickly push it aside. They brought this on themselves with their lies and betrayal. Months pass, and Vivian's goes from strength to strength. We expand to a second location, then a third. I become a fixture on the city's culinary scene, sought after for interviews and partnerships. And then one day I spot a familiar face in the crowd at a food festival. Ashton, looking haggard and defeated, Ember clinging to his arm like a lifeline. They catch my eye, and I see the flash of anger and resentment in their gazes. Well, well, Ember sneers. If it isn't the great Vivian Sinclair, lording her success over the little people. You ruined our lives, Ashton spits. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? I regard them coolly. You ruined your own lives, I say. I just stopped letting you ruin mine. They lunge at me then, hurling insults and accusations, but security quickly intervenes. As they're dragged away screaming and cursing my name, I feel a weight lift from my shoulders. I'm free of them, I realize. Free of their toxicity, their lies, their manipulation. I've built a new life for myself, one filled with success and purpose, and they have no power over me anymore. Let them wallow in their misery, their bitterness. I'm done being dragged down by their darkness. I have a bright future ahead of me, and I intend to make the most of every moment. I walk away from the festival with my head held high, ready to embrace whatever challenges and triumphs lie ahead. I am Vivian Sinclair, and I am unbreakable. The success of Vivian's is a balm to my battered soul. As the restaurant thrives, expanding to new locations across the city, I throw myself into my work with renewed passion. It's a welcome distraction from the pain of Ashton's betrayal, a way to channel my anger into something productive. But even as I bask in the glow of my achievements, I can't shake the desire for revenge. I want Ashton and Ember to suffer, to feel the same humiliation and despair they inflicted on me. My opportunity arrives in the form of a high-profile food festival where Vivian's has been invited to showcase our signature dishes. As I'm prepping my team for the event, I overhear a startling conversation between two of my sous chefs. "Did you hear about Ashton Sinclair?" one of them whispers. "Apparently, he and that blogger chick have been blacklisted from every decent restaurant in the city. No one will hire them after the stunt they pulled with Vivian." "Serves them right," the other chef scoffs. "I heard they're barely scraping by, working dead-end jobs and living in some dump of an apartment." A thrill of vindication runs through me. So the mighty have fallen. Ashton and Ember, once the darlings of the culinary scene, now reduced scraping the bottom of the barrel. But it's not enough. I want to see their downfall for myself, to revel in their misery. And what better place to do it than at the food festival, where the cream of the crop will be gathered to celebrate the city's finest cuisine. I make some discreet inquiries and discover that Ashton and Ember have indeed hit rock bottom. They're working as lowly prep cooks at a seedy diner, barely making ends meet. The image of them toiling away in a greasy kitchen, their dreams of culinary stardom shattered, fills me with a perverse sense of satisfaction. On the day of the festival, I arrive early to oversee the setup of the Vivian's booth. As I'm arranging our artfully plated creations, I catch a glimpse of a familiar face in the crowd. Ashton, looking haggard and defeated, Ember clinging to his arm like a desperate barnacle. Our eyes meet, and I see the flash of recognition, followed by pure, unadulterated loathing. They make a beeline for me, pushing through the throng of festival-goers with single-minded determination. "Well, well, well," Ember sneers as they approach. "If it isn't the great Vivian Sinclair lording her success over the little people. Come to gloat, have you?" I regard them coolly, taking in their shabby appearance and the bitter lines etched into their faces. "I'm here to showcase my restaurant," I say evenly. "What brings you two to the festival? Surely you're not here to sample the gourmet offerings." Ashton's face twists into an ugly scowl. "You think you're so high and mighty, don't you? Ruining our lives, blacklisting us from the industry. Are you happy now, Vivian? Is this what you wanted?" I feel a flare of anger at his accusation. "You ruined your own lives," I snap. "I didn't force you to cheat, to lie, to betray me. You made your choices, and now you're facing the consequences." Ember lets out a shrill laugh. "Consequences? Is that what you call it? You destroyed us, Vivian. You took everything we had and ground it into dust. And you took everything I had and stomped on it without a second thought," I retort. "My love, my trust, my marriage, you betrayed me in the worst possible way, and for what? A cheap fling and some ego boost?" Ashton's face reddens with rage. "You never appreciated me," he snarls, "never supported my dreams. Ember understands me in ways you never could." I shake my head in disbelief. "I gave you everything, Ashton. My heart, my money, my unwavering support, and you threw it all away for a piece of ass. Well, I hope she was worth it, because now you have nothing, no restaurant, no reputation, no future, and you have no one to blame but yourselves." With that, I turn on my heel and walk away, leaving them sputtering with impotent fury. Let them stew in their own misery, I think. They've reaped what they sowed, and I wash my hands of them both. As I return to the Vivian's booth, head held high, I feel a sense of closure wash over me. I've confronted my demons and emerged victorious. Ashton and Ember are nothing more than a bitter memory now, a cautionary tale of what happens when you bite the hand that feeds you. I am Vivian Sinclair, restaurateur extraordinaire, and I bow to no one, least of all a pair of backstabbing traitors who thought they could bring me down. I've risen from the ashes of their betrayal, and I will continue to soar. Nothing and no one can stop me now. The food festival marks a turning point in my life. With Ashton and Ember's public humiliation, I feel a sense of closure, a readiness to move on from the pain of their betrayal. I throw myself into my work with renewed vigor, determined to make Vivian's the most acclaimed restaurant in the city. And it pays off. Within months, we're booked solid every night, with a wait list stretching weeks in advance. Critics rave about our innovative menu and impeccable service, and I become a regular fixture on the culinary scene, sought after for interviews and collaborations. But even as I bask in my success, I can't help but keep tabs on Ashton and Ember. Call it morbid curiosity, but I need to know just how far they've fallen. Through the grapevine, I learned that they've been blacklisted from every reputable restaurant in town. No one wants to be associated with the scandalous couple who betrayed the beloved Vivian Sinclair. They're forced to take whatever scraps they can get, working menial jobs in fast food joints and seedy diners. A part of me feels a twinge of pity for them. After all, I once loved Ashton deeply, and I can't forget the good times we shared. But then I remember the pain they caused me, the callous way they discarded our marriage, and any sympathy I might have felt evaporates like mist in the sun. Let them suffer, I think. Let them feel a fraction of the heartbreak and humiliation they inflicted on me. It's no less than they deserve. As the months pass, I hear whispers of their increasingly desperate situation. They've been evicted from their apartment, unable to make rent on their meager wages. They're living out of Ember's beat-up old car, sneaking into shelters for meals and showers. It's a far cry from the lavish lifestyle they once enjoyed, funded by my hard work and sacrifices. The irony is not lost on me. One evening, as I'm leaving the restaurant after a particularly grueling shift, I spot a familiar figure huddled in the alley behind the building. It's Ashton, looking gaunt and filthy, his once pristine chef's white stained and tattered. He looks up at me with bloodshot eyes, a mixture of shame and resentment on his haggard face. "Come to gloat?" he rasps, his voice rough from disuse. I shake my head. "I take no pleasure in your suffering, Ashton. Despite what you may think, I never wanted this for you." He lets out a bitter laugh. "Could have fooled me. You took everything from us, Vivian. Our jobs, our reputations, our future. You ruined our lives." I feel a flare of anger at his accusation. "You ruined your own lives," I snap. "I didn't force you to cheat, to lie, to betray me. You made your choices, and now you're facing the consequences." Ashton's face twists into a sneer. "Consequences? Is that what you call it? We're living on the streets, Vivian, begging for scraps like dogs. Is this the revenge you wanted? To see us reduced to nothing?" I take a deep breath, trying to calm the rage simmering in my veins. "I never wanted revenge, Ashton. I wanted justice. I wanted you to feel a fraction of the pain you caused me, to understand the magnitude of your betrayal. But I never wished for this. I never wanted to see you destroyed." He scoffs. "Could have fooled me." I sigh, suddenly feeling very tired. "Think what you want, Ashton. But know this, I've moved on. I've built a new life for myself, one that doesn't include you or Ember. And I'm happy, truly happy, for the first time in years." I turn to walk away, but his voice stops me. "Vivian, wait." I glance back over my shoulder, seeing a flicker of the man I once loved in his haunted eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispers, "for everything. I know it doesn't change anything, but I needed to say it." I nod, a lump forming in my throat. "I appreciate that, Ashton. But you're right, it doesn't change anything. We can't go back to what we were. That life is over." With that, I walk away, leaving him slumped in the alley. As I climb into my car and drive off into the night, I feel a sense of closure wash over me. The anger and pain that have fueled me for so long begin to dissipate, replaced by a newfound sense of peace. I have survived the worst betrayal imaginable, and I have emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I am Vivian Sinclair, and I am finally free. With Ashton's apology still ringing in my ears, I throw myself into expanding Vivian's empire. We open new locations across the city, each one more successful than the last. My name becomes synonymous with culinary excellence, and I'm hailed as a visionary in the industry. But my success is about more than just personal achievement. I want to use my platform to make a difference, to empower other women who have faced adversity and betrayal. I start a mentorship program for aspiring female chefs, offering guidance and support as they navigate the cutthroat world of professional kitchens. I also partner with local women's shelters, donating a portion of Vivian's profits to help survivors of domestic abuse rebuild their lives. It's deeply fulfilling work, and it gives me a sense of purpose beyond the daily grind of running a restaurant. I feel like I'm making a real difference in people's lives, using my own pain and struggle as a catalyst for positive change. But even as I bask in the glow of my newfound purpose, I can't help but think of Ashton and Ember. Despite everything they've done, a part of me still feels a twinge of pity for them. I know firsthand how easy it is to get caught up in the allure of success, to let ego and ambition cloud your judgment. And while I can never forgive their betrayal, I can't help but wonder if they truly understood the consequences of their actions. Through the grapevine, I hear that they've hit rock bottom, blacklisted from the industry, drowning in debt, and struggling with addiction. They're a cautionary tale of what happens when you let greed and selfishness consume you. A part of me wants to reach out, to offer some kind of olive branch, but I know it's not my responsibility to save them from themselves. They made their choices, and now they have to live with the fallout. Instead, I focus on my own healing, on building a life that is authentic and fulfilling. I surround myself with people who lift me up, who support my dreams and celebrate my successes. Nadia becomes my rock, my confidant, and my sounding board. She's there for me through every triumph and setback, always ready with a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on. Together we host lavish charity events at Vivian's, raising money and awareness for causes close to our hearts. I speak openly about my own experiences, hoping to inspire others to find strength in the face of adversity. And slowly but surely, I feel the wounds of Ashton's betrayal begin to heal. The pain and anger that once consumed me fade into the background, replaced by a sense of peace and purpose. I know I'll never forget what he did, but I refuse to let it define me. I am more than the sum of my scars, more than the product of someone else's cruelty. I am Vivian Sinclair, a survivor, a fighter, and a force to be reckoned with. And I will spend the rest of my life using my voice and my platform to lift up others, to create a world where no one has to suffer in silence. As I stand on the balcony of my penthouse apartment, looking out over the twinkling lights of the city, I feel a sense of gratitude wash over me. I have lost much, but I have gained so much more. I have found my purpose, my passion, and my power. And I know that no matter what challenges lie ahead, I have the strength and resilience to overcome them. Let Ashton and Ember wallow in their misery, their regret. I have moved on, focused on building a life that is rich in love, purpose, and meaning. I am Vivian Sinclair, and I am unstoppable.